For today's review, we are looking at the Mcfarlane Collector Edition Deadshot. Now, before I dive into talking about the accessories and of course the figure, as usual, let's take a quick look at the data profile card to find out who Deadshot is as a character. And as you can see, there is this beautiful comic book artwork of Deadshot front and center. Pretty cool. His real name is Floyd Lawton, and it reads, Floyd Lawton is Deadshot, known as the world's deadliest marksman. His weapons of choice are two guns mounted on each wrist. He began his career as a vigilante in Gotham City, but he later became a highly priced assassin and mercenary. He has been a core member of the Secret Six and the Suicide Squad. And that's a pretty good read-up on who Deadshot is as a character. And now, let's talk about the accessories that are included with this figure, and let's start with the interchangeable hands. So as you can see on the figure, he does have two fist hands, so if you want him to throw down the good old-fashioned way, you can do that as an option. He also comes with 4 other interchangeable hands, such as the classic item-holding hands, or trigger finger hands, because he can hold gun accessories with these hands. So there's that option. And for some reason, they gave him these 2 hand gestures, which I don't know why, but he comes with 2 pointing finger hands. So you can have him point at somebody. Or you can have these look like the finger gun hand gesture. You know, the thing that some people do sometimes. So there's that option. For some reason, he comes with those. Okay, and now his guns that are mounted to his wrist. He has 3 sets of those. So you have the default one without the blast effect. So there's this option. You have the other set of them where it looks like he's blasted somebody. So there's that. And the last set is more of maybe just smoke coming out of the chamber. I'm not too sure what this is supposed to be, but you have this as well. And all these options are pretty good because if you do like taking photos with your action figures, I like the fact that these are included and you can intermix them. Now, this is the one character that would have benefited if he actually came with gun accessories, because Deadshot doesn't just use the guns mounted on his wrist. He does use actual guns as well. So if you have, for example, the Year 2 Batman figure who actually came with a gun accessory, you can probably take this from him and give it to Deadshot if you want to. Or if you have the gun accessory pack from Mcfarlane Toys, you can take one of those weapons and also give it to him to hold as well. So there are those options, and I will show what he looks like holding proper gun accessories. Okay, before we get into aesthetics, we have to put on his guns because it will not be complete without that. And as you can see, there are these little pegs right here on the side. They do match up with the little socket here in terms of the shape. So all you do is you press these in, and they stay on pretty tightly. So do the same thing on this side. Just get them on there correctly. And there you go. He has his guns on his wrist. And now he's complete. So, in terms of the design of this Deadshot figure, I think they did a pretty good job because it is based on his classic design, and I like the execution of it. And the body buck that they reuse for this is not a bad body buck. It is, of course, the speeding bullet body buck, which we've seen before. And in this case, you know, these sculpted lines that are present, do they destroy the design of this figure? Not entirely. I like the fact that there is a little bit of texturing to his suit if you want to use that as some sort of texture, I guess, for his costume. However, down here by his boots or his shoes, whatever you want to call these, that's where these lines are not the best because in the artwork, there are no lines down here, right? It's just a flat design. So in this case, it would have been better if there was no sculpted lines, but of course it is a reused body buck. Now, in terms of his torso area, I do like the lines that they added to this entire design here. The sculpt work is not bad. It matches up with his costume design. And if you are a customizer, you could probably use panel lining for those areas because if you look back at the artwork, there are some dark lines in between, right? And I thought about this when I got the figure because, you know, it's really easy to panel line these lines. And panel lining, for those who don't know, is that if you do build Gunpla and you do have Gundam markers, well, you panel line those areas like this that could stand out with a little bit of black ink in them. And in this case, it probably could work on this figure. So all these lines could stand out a lot more and not look flat like the way it does right now. Now let's talk about the head sculpt. I do like this head sculpt. You can see his eyes are just white. He does have his sculpt here, so he can aim exactly all the time. And you have to remember, this character never misses his shots. A good example is in the Injustice 2 video game. If you remember that scene in the cutscene where Barry is running, there's this moment where Deadshot shoots at him, and even someone like Barry Allen, who runs really freaking fast, he can still hit. So that's how lethal Deadshot is with his shots. Like, he will still be able to hit somebody even if they're running super freaking fast. So that's a good example right there. And for his gauntlets on the side here, I really like the fact that the guns are mounted on the side and they are removable. That is a really cool thing, so you can have that intermix option, as I said earlier. And it does add to the character design because he is known for having these guns on the side of his arms here. So there is that. Now, the part that I don't really know much about in terms of his costume is this thing right here. I don't know what this is for. Is this to store his guns? Is it to store bullets? I'm not sure what this is, but it is part of his costume, apparently. But for some reason, in the artwork... Oh, wait, no, actually, it is in the artwork. Yeah, it blended in with the background so good, I didn't even notice. Yeah, it's right there. It's like something he carries. So, yeah, there is that. As for the back of the figure, there's not a whole lot going on the backside. It's pretty flat on the backside. So, yeah, most of the overall design here on the front is pretty good. It matches with the source material, and I think they did a really good job with the colors because it works. Now, you can argue that the colors for these areas are way too gray because the source material shows a brighter white color. I don't know. His colors change sometimes throughout his designs. But if you are a customizer, you know what to do. You can paint it white if you want to. All right. Let's talk about the articulation of this figure. Maybe it's too tight on my copy. I'm not too sure. But as you can see, he can rotate his head, right? No problems. But when it comes to looking up, it is really hindered by that neck right there. Like, he doesn't want to look up at all. He can look down, right? That's not too bad. But for some reason, looking up is kind of a problem. Like, it feels like you have to fight with the sculpting of this neck in order to get his head to look up, which he still can, so there's that. In terms of tilting his head, that's not a problem. For his arms, he can go out into a T-pose, kinda, right? So there's that. He can swing his arms back and forth. He does have the double jointed, and of course, he does have bicep swivel up here, swivel down here, and wrist articulation, so there's no problems there. And of course, when you get him to rotate his biceps, you can have him look like he's pointing his guns at somebody. So there's that. As for his torso, he doesn't have the best movement here in terms of rotation because it's really tight. When it comes to leaning forward, not the best with that. Leaning back, it's okay. Also not that great. So, you know, one of these cases where maybe a modification could probably make it better. As for the waist rotation, really good waist rotation, as you can see right there. I don't hate that. I like the fact that it can move so freely because there are some figures where their waist rotation sucks. So in this case, it actually moves pretty good. Leaning back, also not the best. Leaning forward, yeah, it doesn't really work in that case. So there's that. As for his legs, kicking upward, not the best again because of the fact that this piece up here hinders the legs, and even though it's a softer plastic, it's not soft enough for the legs to do a full-on kick. As for doing the splits, it's not a full split, but you can still get him to spread out his legs. As for double jointed, he does have that, but my copy is still new, but as you can see, it does work. So there's that. And of course, feet articulation, no problem. It can articulate, swivel, and of course the toe articulation. And for thigh swivels, they do kind of move. This one does. This side, not so much. So articulation on this figure, it's okay. Again, it's not the best, but It will still get the job done for certain action poses that you want to do. And that is all the articulation on this figure. And now, let me show him with some blast effects on his gun arms here, whatever you want to call these. So, there's the default look if you want him to look like he's about to fire at somebody. And then here he is with these other ones. Actually, I should probably zoom in. Here he is with these ones mounted on. And let me just put these on. There you go. So you have that option as well where it looks like he's blasting somebody with the effects. And I think they work really good for this figure. So there's an example of that. And I do want to show him holding some guns because that is something else that he needs to have. Give me a second here as I swap out his hands. So let's do this. Really simple. Let's put this on. And let's have him hold, for example, the handgun. So this handgun fits right into his hands. Not too bad, as you can see. And there is that option, right? That doesn't look too bad. And again, I don't know why they couldn't have given him gun accessories, because this is a character that benefits from it. So there is the handgun. Here he is holding one of the guns from the gun accessory pack. Let me see if I can get this in his hand. It should fit in his hands. There you go. There's that option. Look at that. But since he is Deadshot, I'm pretty sure he would use a sniper rifle over an assault weapon like that. So I don't remember if there was any sniper rifles with that weapons pack accessory thing. There probably was. I haven't looked through it in a while, so but that is an option. And of course, let's have him have these pointing finger hands for fun. So let me just take these off. I don't know why he gave this figure these hand gestures. It's so weird, but there you go. If you want him to look like he's pointing at you, or he's doing the finger gun hand gesture thing. Okay, there's that. All right, let's do some comparisons. Let me get him to stand first. He has trouble standing for some reason. All right, don't fall over, please. All right, we're good. Okay, here he is next to the Marvel Legends Extremist Suit Iron Man. So, of course, he is different scale than a Marvel Legends. Here he is next to the Jada Toys Street Fighter Chun-Li, who is even smaller than a Marvel Legend. And, of course, here he is next to his wave mate, the Year 2 Batman. Not bad when you have them next to each other. But again, this is a very wacky Batman. And we will be looking at this figure next week. So stay tuned for this review. Alright, and that's going to be all the comparisons for today's review. If you found today's review of this Deadshot enjoyable, give this video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel for more action figure content and whatever else I do on the channel, you can. You don't have to. In the end of the day, I make these videos for fun. And with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.